In this video, I'm going to give you the top 5 critical tips needed to pass a system design interview at a big tech company. Our expert mentors at EasyClimb Tech helped compile this list, and today I'm going to share it with you. Number 1 is the failure to create the correct functional and non-functional requirements. Most candidates fail to naturally come up with the right functional and non-functional requirements on their own. During the initial stage of the interview, you're expected to propose ideas and clarify the scope of the problem. For instance, when asked to design something like Instagram or Facebook, the focus is usually on a small component rather than the entire system. The only way to figure this out is by making assumptions and asking deep, probing, clarifying questions to the interviewer that you're working with. The same applies to non-functional requirements. You need to develop a good product sense to determine what the application truly needs. For instance, if it handles money, strong consistency and security are likely essential. If it's a social media app, however, low latency and high availability may be more important. You don't need to be 100% accurate with this all the time, but you should be able to discuss potential trade-offs with the interviewer. Also, avoid dragging this first part of the system design interview out by getting stuck on back of the envelope calculations. They can take a lot of time and provide limited value. Instead, focus on the more critical parts of the design. When you're practicing system design on your own, make sure you're not getting the functional and non-functional requirements for the practice questions online. You need to be coming up with these yourself. Number 2 on the list is skip API design if you're interviewing for a senior or above position. Junior candidates often demonstrate API design by outlining a few crud endpoints that a complex app might actually never use in real life. Real-world systems are far more complex, so the time spent writing basic endpoints doesn't provide much value. Once you briefly discuss the API, consider jumping to a more strategic overview of the architecture and communication. For example, you could discuss GraphQL, WebSockets, or gRPC. You might also identify use cases where WebSockets or long polling are better suited than basic get post endpoints. The reversal of this is if you're interviewing as a junior or mid-level engineer and aren't comfortable with a more strategic overview or discussing GraphQL and gRPC trade-offs, a lack of a standard CRUD API could be held against you. So overall, this point generally only applies to senior and above roles. Number 3 on the list is saying I am choosing this database because my team at my current company uses it. This explanation can be a significant pitfall that costs candidates a job offer. Rather than just saying I'm choosing this database because my team uses it or I'm choosing it because I'm familiar with it, focus on presenting multiple options and discussing the high-level trade-offs. With that being said, you don't need to dive into internals like write-ahead logs, consistent hashing, or LSM trees until you're comfortable with databases in practice. For mid and senior level interviews, reading AWS console documentation and DynamoDB's user guide is often enough. You don't need a PhD in database design. On the other hand, another big mistake is failing to specify a particular database altogether and just saying, we'll use a NoSQL database. While it's valid to mention the NoSQL family, leaving the conversation at that level won't satisfy the interviewer. For instance, MongoDB and Cassandra are both NoSQL databases but solve very different problems. MongoDB, a document store, is well suited for flexible schemas, unstructured or semi-structured data, and dynamic queries, making it popular for user profiles or content management system. In contrast, Cassandra DB, which uses a wide column store approach, excels at handling massive amounts of data with linear scalability and high availability, making it ideal for time series analytics, large-scale logging, or Internet of Things applications that require low latency reads, high throughput, and effective distribution across multiple data centers. Each database is optimized for a specific purpose, so it's important to know at least the basics of a few options. You don't have to become an expert, but you should be able to explain why you'd pick one database over another for a given scenario. Number 4 on the list is don't learn system design by just watching mock system design interviews. While mock system design interviews can be helpful, many people rely on them exclusively, which isn't optimal for 2 reasons. The first reason is you're watching someone else do something instead of doing it yourself. Like learning to drive, you can't master system design by sitting in the passenger seat. System design is about using the variety of tools you know and recognizing patterns. Mock interviews often show just one solution from one person, rather than exploring the building blocks you can reuse for different problems. Many mock interview videos are also repetitive and boring. Although having fun isn't required, staying engaged helps. Learning about system components in small, digestible pieces usually makes the process easier. After you familiarize yourself with these building blocks, you need to work through designs yourself. This will allow you to develop the skills needed to piece all of them together in order to build scalable systems, no matter the functional requirements that are thrown at you. If you're looking to take the driver's seat and test drive your ability to design systems, check out easyclimb.tech. We offer 90-minute sessions which give you the chance to learn from an experienced mentor from your company of choice who will give immediate feedback and tips on how you can improve. Additionally, all of our mentors are available on Discord in the description below. Feel free to reach out to them and ask any questions you have free of charge. Number 5 is designing CRUD apps instead of distributed microservice applications. Many candidates mistakenly simplify the application to a controller, a service, and a single database, and label this a comprehensive design. In reality, whether you're interviewing at a large tech company or a startup, interviewers usually expect a complex network of microservices, caches, databases, workers, pub subsystems, and more, all working together to achieve high availability, reliability, and low latency. There's a reason companies like Google and Amazon have massive engineering teams maintaining their seemingly simple systems. A truly scalable application can't just be a CRUD system, so don't design one that way in the interview. Think about how realistic your design. This may be challenging, but as you learn more about the tools and technologies involved in these large-scale systems, you'll be able to develop this judgment much easier. Returning to the advice in tip 4, try to move away from just watching or reading mock interviews and learn the actual tools. Learn by doing. If your system design interview is a couple months away, build a small toy project using Redis for caching or Kafka for event streaming. Get a feel for subscribing to topics, consuming events, and decoupling systems. When you truly believe your APIs need Kafka, rather than just following a random YouTube suggestion, your natural system design abilities will improve significantly. By following the tips outlined in this video, your chances of passing a system design interview will improve significantly. Best of luck in those interviews, and we'll see you around in the Discord. If you like this content and want to see more, be sure to subscribe.